My name is Abdul Abdullah and I'm originally from Perth where I grew up, but I've been living in Sydney for the past few years, and I work mainly with painting but across sculpture, embroidery, photography and occasionally a little bit of performance. I first got involved in the Metro Tunnel project after speaking to one of the curators who was involved in the program. They saw my work at Art Basel Hong Kong and we had a discussion about putting a proposal forward. And for me, it was a really fantastic opportunity to bring my ideas into a public forum and at scale. I grew up next to a train station and I always saw it as a nexus point of different communities coming together, and I thought this was a really exciting time to explore that dynamic. When I first got the brief, I wanted to look at the history of the area where the station is. And as part of the brief, there was some historical information provided, and there was a painting by J.S. Calder which depicted the area before settlement. And I was fascinated by that, the lakes, the natural environment before there were buildings there, and I was really drawn to it and kept coming back to it and thought that should be part of the final outcome, to point to that history, as well as the industrial history and the settlement history that's come afterwards. So before I studied art, I studied journalism, and I moved over to art because it still served that curiosity. I still got to be a sticky beak, and I didn't have to be burdened by any pretense of objectivity. So I can kind of just be as nosy and reactive and emotional and responsive as I liked about what I was interested in. And that's what comes through in my practice. I look at signifiers, I look at symbols, and I bring them together in ways that might not make sense in a linear sense. But if you mash them together, it gives you an idea of a broader picture. So often I will take things that already exist, images that already exist, like ideas that already exist, and put my own twist on it. Like I say, I don't really invent anything, I just remix things to look at it from a different perspective. What's particularly exciting for me about Arden Station and where it's located is how it's going to service a whole lot of different communities, like very established Melbourne communities, but also lots of new communities. And they're going to be using that as a thoroughfare, they're going to be using that as a waypoint, that's going to be a point which everyone travels through. And to welcome new communities and to encourage that idea of coming together, that idea of different communities and different walks of life all merging into one space at particular points of the day is really exciting. I think there's very specific type of cultural cohesion that happens in train stations, and if I can contribute positively to that, if I can help facilitate that in any way, I think that's very, very exciting for me.